Here we go. Deep. The backup translator. Okay, here we go. I will continue. Is the pride of a skill gathered from all over the world? Bronze cloth, which can only be obtained by a selected people. The 10 people, including Seiya, are brilliantly wearing sacred cloths, but don't feel free to think I want them to is... Okay, I can't subscribe that. For example, life-threatening... Oh, that was saying, don't think you want to be them, pretty much. For example, life-threatening strength training such as hook your foot for 1,000 times? What? Oh, they're talking about a she used training. Basically the waterfall thing. Doing 1,000 times. A fierce special drama that exceeds the limits of the body awaits. These warriors were chosen as saints. We will deliver their way to the Sparta of all over the world. In addition, coaches tend to prefer training that looks ugly, and Kai has a showmanship in both abilities, such as shadows and cold and blizzard, la la la. Let's see how that transcribes in Deep L. But basically just talking about bronze cloth and the training they went through. Oh, hooking their feet to the walls 1,000 times, talking about just training and hitting things. These warriors are chosen saints. We will show you their Spartan activities in various parts of the world. The coaches tend to prefer more glamorous looking training. And the ability, showmanship, shadows, cold during the blizzard, or break free from the clutches of steel, so it's quite a challenge. No offense is taken to the training of women, but Sayori's feelings are not the same as hers. By the power of the microcosm. What is that trying to say? Hmm. But there's something about women in training. In the case of Shun, by the way, the evil of the unicorn of being substitute for the young lady fed childhood. He had been humiliated by the somewhat happy face. I think this is rather... I cannot transcribe any of that, fortunately. Anyways, the sea gods who protected the sea emperor Poseidon. The fighters who received the 21 orders of the Pluto, king of Hades. The powerful enemies who fought fierce battles with saints. And the characters who color the story fully covered in whatever. This, unfortunately, is mostly lost in translation. But we do what we can here. Why did I get... No, I still need Deep L. Basically, they train their gods here. And we're getting more into about Poseidon. Saint Bronze, Silver Saint, Gold Saint. Specters. We are all by means of Emperor of Mariners, the Sea Emperor Poseidon, who was aiming for supremacy on the ground, had those who were comparable to the Saints of Athena. I can't help it anymore when it gets stuck, lost, heartwarming. The Emperor Poseidon, who once fought against Athena many times over the land of, was I trying to say Africa? No, or the Atlantic. I don't know. Was sealed by Athena at the end of the Holy War thousands of years ago. She got sick of this mess. The ground temple at the tip of Cape Suning has also weathered over time, leaving only a slight remnant of it. The rock beneath it was used to contain the prisoners of war, but was eventually forgotten by people's memories, and the presence of the emperor was buried in the legend. But this this changed suddenly when Canaan, the younger brother of Gemini Saga, who was imprisoned in the rock of Cape N, found a way to submarine temple. Where is the Phantom Sea General, along with his wife, who sealed the soul of Poseidon, seven scales for the sea generals? There's a lot of text. Holy smokes. Mariners are selected from a number of candidates like Saint Seiya, and those who already have qualifications of mariner are selected as scales rather than being qualified by rigorous training. So basically, like we always thought, is the armor for most of them chooses them and not necessarily go through training. They're from all over the world and they receive the armor. They all have power and loyalty to Poseidon, one of the 12 Olympians, and the mighty brother of Zeus, known for creating various monsters. Monsters used for symbiotic clothing, their armor. So the appearance of the scales become a monster that later appeared in mythology as in tradition. Is that wait, is it saying that the armor came before the claw? I mean saying that the armor came before the mythology? Hmm. Let me double check that. Then, I don't think that would make sense. Is it the downloading in the background and making this slow? Hold on. Just cancel it. Hmm. Let's try this again. Internet's very unusually slow today. I haven't had this kind of problem my last few streams. Hmm. Anyways, in Greek mythology, Poseidon, one of the 12 Olympians and brother of Zeus, is the powerful god who is known to have created various monsters, since all of these monsters are also used as symbols for garments. Some have suggested that their scaly forms later become the monsters that appear. Oh, that's interesting. So it is kind of suggesting that the forms that the cloth took, um, basically, I don't know, became inspiration for the monsters that appear, or in some ways they became the monsters. Interesting. Hold on for 1 second. All right. Well, that's a new lore thing for me. The sea and the sea fighters were were resurrected more than 200 years earlier than they should have been, so they have been sealed away, unable to display their true power. It is said that when the Sea Emperor awakens again, the myth will take on a new dimension. Oh, and the loss of I'm gonna say the main breadwinner, I'm assuming, has made him the god Poseidon, but this is a vast ocean, is also the home of the second and third sea gods. The second and third sea temples are said to be located in the vast sea. The sea is said to have a second and third sea goddesses temple. Hmm. The saints are said to be able to go toe to toe. I'm assuming that means the mariners are said to be able to go toe to toe with saints. Even the common soldier is given a robe decorated with the image of saints. So basically, even the grunts have pretty nice armor. In this battle, Underwater Temple is the Mediterranean only collapse. They are not obligated to fight barehanded like the Saints, so they sometimes use weapons to attack their opponents. Of course, that makes sense. I think I'm just gonna go straight to Deep L. Or is this just talking about stats? Oh, we're in the uh we're in the stat po- power scale portion of the thing. Okay. Without using any martial arts or weapons, the extraordinary seahorse can write directly on the opponent, inflicting a can write. I'm assuming it does attack, only inflicting a deep damage on them. The seahorse is a powerful creature that uses his own breath, creates an airfield, and creates a sense of control from the opponent. So let's just talk about the techniques. More from that, it accounts for his experience. Seiya has fought against those who are stronger than him. He has never fought anyone stronger than himself, but he has been crushed by the power comparable to that of God's saints. He is a man who has never fought anyone stronger than himself. So starting to repeat. He is one of the seven great sea generals who guard the pillars of the North Atlantic Ocean and are, whoops, and is one of the strongest of the sea fight. Who is that? Oh, so it has to be who's the North Atlantic part? If one of the strongest, I assume it has to be Sorrento. Basically, talk about how strong he is, but Seiya has fought characters that are stronger than him before, comparable if not stronger than Sorrento, but Sorrento has not fought anybody the caliber that he has before. Now he's okay. Wonder what it has to say about his spear. Is it recording? Yes. But not everything was translated, but we do what we can here. Instead of reading the whole thing, I think I'll just pick up the important bits. Not there. I need to start here. The Bronze Saints who attempted to defend the pillars with his bronze cloth was defeated by the power of Nebula Chain. Wait, what? Okay, what it's trying to say is that Mariner was defeated by Shun with his Nebula Chain, and he hosted his body to try to protect the pillar. We know that story. He is a warrior who fights with all his chakras. He has a mystical side. He believes in redeeming the world through chakra and is determined to bring an end to the age of darkness. Not much can really be said. Boy, do I need to stop doing that. Okay. Okay. Maybe we could have something more interesting then. Okay, we go down to Poseidon. Mic check, mic check, mic check, is mic check. Stream check, is stream check. Stream check, and everything's fine. Wonderful. Okay, we leave that. Leave this. What do we say about Poseidon? Whoops. Is that the same thing? Hmm. I don't think I actually did it right. Let me do it one more time. There we go. I would say it shouldn't have fighting ability. Poseidon, who once vowed with Athena for supremacy, once fought with Athena over the earth, is the figure of the present world. Julian Solo. He's been resurrected. This resurrection was caused by Canaan's accidental discovery of the trident, not Poseidon's original goal or will. But Seiya's full force hit Poseidon hard enough to cause his resurrection and to lean more towards his full power. And even when Poseidon was not in the perfect state, he was still able to resurrect. Even when Poseidon is not in a perfect state, he can still crush an arrow. The water was about to flood the earth. Earth. Someone mocked me about the way I said earth in one of my videos. Screw that guy. Wrath of the gods is now upon us. Basically going over Poseidon's backstory. So far, no particular new information is being brought up, just more clarification, which I guess is a lot of what fans ask for. Clarification, so we need more of that. Now we're dipping into Hades. Julian, on his 16th birthday, encouraged to awaken the Sea Emperor. Oh, so she does call herself a mermaid. Hades and his army was sealed 2 years ago? Perhaps that really means 200. The Battle of the Saints and the Underworld Warriors in the previous Holy War was so fierce that many saints lost their lives in battle, and only two saints survived. We all know those two saints, don't we? A saint's life is not eternal, but when they with Lord Hades, well, the rule changes a bit. He can give physical form to the inhabitants of his realm, because for him, the concept of death does not exist. The Hades army is a jet black protective body known as the Hades body, or the what are they actually called? What do specters wear? Surplus, yes. The endless army of the underworld. Well, I guess they do have infinite possible recruits, but there are only 108. You're good? I strongly appreciate that. Man, I've been hitting the local bookstore up and every week trying to see if somehow they got Saint Seiya Next Dimension. Good luck, my brother. That's probably pretty difficult. Also, Terry, I hope you'll be here tomorrow because I'm going to be reading Zeus's portion of mythology from the website theo.com, so you can correct them and myself along the way. Anyways, let's keep going. The Underworld Warriors are allowed to operate there. Because of this, no other power could invade the world. It has an ironclad defense. Shaka has found a way to invade the underworld by manifesting Arikakweyo, the eighth sense, I believe. Thus, despite many battles, Athena was unable to eradicate the forces of the underworld. Okay, so basically what it's saying is, um, Athena for probably the longest time really had no way to actually invade the underworld. And she's not even a god that invades, but she never could anyways. But Shaka was like, hey, what about the eighth sense? And she just kind of went, yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Alrighty. Who doesn't earn Cerberus? It's interesting that Cerberus only appeared for a couple of seconds. Is this still recording? I thought it started recording. Let's keep going. The giant 10,000 meter high sanctuary. Okay, well, an estimation to how high the sanctuary is. Is that 10,000 or is it 10 million? Oh, during the invasion, many fighters infiltrated the sanctuary under the command of Ramidas. Interest that comes being translated as Pluto, unless Pluto is the actual translation for it. The garment is chosen by the magic star, hence the whole 108 stars of destiny thing. So it does not require the same extreme training as a saint has done for the innate qualities of the sea fighters. The same as in okay, so that is more clarification that both uh the sea guys and the Hades specters really don't require a lot of training, unlike the saints. Apparently, the armor itself can transform the person wearing it. Interesting. Like maybe that weird frog guy wasn't originally like that. Maybe the cloth actually cursed that thing. The 108 warriors were created in instance to rival the goat saints. The Gemini Saga rebellion followed by the awakening of the Sea Emperor Poseidon. The day finally comes when the seal is broken. In hell, demons from mythical times live on to this day, like Cerberus. Also, the giant spider is basically talking about the warriors that fell before Seiya. I mean, fell before Shaka. You know, even though it's talking about rivaling it, it doesn't necessarily say a lot about the armor itself. Like, how comparable is it to golden armor? So if we talk about the armor, it's about the fighter. Alright. So this is also pointing out that Hades created a ward of power around his castle, making the saints powerless. So Thanatos and Hippones look down on the other specters. And the reason for that is because the armor was created for them. instead of them earning it. This is how I'm reading it. So basically what it's saying that what's repeating pretty much is even if even if the Hades army was wiped out, it doesn't really matter because they could just find more. Like there's a lot of dead in the underworld that probably be happy to take their place. So losing a few soldiers really doesn't matter to those that belong in the army of Hades. Alright, that's about the most out of that. Let's just talk about the random specters. Hmm. I'll stop when we get to more in depth about the judges. Was this guy a judge? Evraminus? We'll see about these guys anyways. He is feared by all fighters. He is also a master of the stun attack, a special move that utilizes his monstrous strength. He is the most powerful fighter in the world, and his monstrous strength has led him to defeat the fifth keeper of the fifth burning hell. Who are they talking about? Should probably actually translate that. Might have went a little too far there. Okay. Millis Ox. So the word ox was used before even next dimension. Interesting. I best move on. Fifth Keeper has his own solid victories with the universe as his body. He has defeated dragons and glaciers, although he does not have any special moves. He always cancels out a small cosmos, Devil's Roar, the fourth demonic beast's breath. Okay, I'm definitely gonna look up whoever that is they're talking about. Could it be this big guy here that got killed pretty easy? No, there's somewhere here. The Giant of the Underworld. In a battle with Kane, he showed a special move that is said to be the most powerful of its kind in the world. Ox. He was in charge of submerging the Earth. A fighter who was stripped of his sanctum sanctorum after the goddess was exterminated with a technique that tore apart the Earth. The Earth, like was said to have been a disaster for having served. Interesting. So Ox, the random specter, is a pretty strong guy. Earthquakes. Hmm. Now the judges are magnates. Let's bring this back a little bit. Dang it, I did the DeepL translate thing again. With its powerful psychic powers, the Wyvern crushes his opponent with a single blow. The Wyvern's powerful window power crushes his opponent's single blow. The body is sucked into the dimension and disappears. The Lola execution that he tries to fight against block the O arrow. Okay. Only say when it doesn't talk like gibberish. Scattered in the skies of the underworld, he is loved by his subordinates because of his desperate attack. He has the trust of Lord Hades, and is loved by his subordinates. The trust of the Dark Lord is strong, and the fact that he sees through the schemes has proven to be the best threat to him and the world. Basically, there's one of the judges Hades does actually like, and the other soldiers actually like as well. And here I was thinking that the other magnates just did their job, but otherwise hated their existence. Alrighty. Alright, let's talk about, I probably shouldn't skip over Pandora. Pandora, Pandora, I have an evil plan for you. He is the most powerful fighter in the underworld, along with Ramadas and Minos. He is known as one of the three giants of the underworld. He appears in the fifth prison with Minos. Hades' sister in this life. Once an ordinary girl surrounded by her loving family, she was chosen by Thanatos and Hipponis as the guardian of Hades' soul, and given the power to rule over the 188 Underworld Warriors. Since then, she has been in charge of practical affairs of the underworld. She believed that when Hades reigned on the earth would be purified, and eternal life would be given to her. But when she was touched by the possession of Seiya and others, she realized her mistake. She is a sad woman whose destiny was derailed by Hades. A witch died in darkness, who severs a sad fate. Hades' sister. Wow, that's depressing. I guess when you put it like that, yeah, Pandora's kind of depressing. A tragic character in a sense. And now the Wonder Twins. Hmm? Hmm. Let's try this again. There we go. A god with golden eyes. Isn't that a whoops? Isn't that a James Bond villain? Two of them maybe? A god with golden eyes and hair who lurks in the underworld paradise, Elysian, beyond the wall of sorrows. His special technique, eternal drowsiness, seals the manifestation of the enemy's cosmos and lulls them into eternal sleep from which they will never awaken. Well, putting it that way does make his putting you to sleep technique sound a little bit more impressive. Sealing the manifestation of their cosmos. Anyways, as close associate of Hades, he is also the mastermind behind the plan to purge the Earth. Really? So they had a hand in the idea as well, huh? By manipulating Pandora and the underworld together with Thanatos from behind the scenes. He is a cautious character, and although he looks down on mortals, he never disrespects them. A technique that tears apart the opponent's five bodies, turning him into a human being. A god of death with silver eyes and hair. He is the brother of Hipponis, but he is more impulsive and short-tempered than Hipponus. He usually enjoys singing with fairies, and also graceful in a graceful manner. But excuse, he is hurt in many ways by someone that disrespects him. He instantly turns on them and reveals his cruel nature. So, in other words, Thanatos is bipolar. With his extraordinary power, he defeated all the Bronze Saints who visited Elysium, but in the end, he was defeated by Seiya, who was resurrected wearing divine holy robe with the blessing of Athena's blood. His power far surpass his power far surpasses that of the Bronze Saints and even the gods. I wonder if they saying that Thanatos or talking about Seiya's GodCloth. I'll look at that later. Both statements are true, of course. And now Hades. Is borrowing Pandora's mothership to this world. Is that a way of saying Hades hijacked a woman's body to give birth to him? That is one way to put it. Even the movements of planets are subject to the will of Hades, the god who rules the underworld. Disappearing of a man's endless misdeeds. The god who rules the underworld, disappearing of man's misdeeds, thinks Earth must be purged. He was defeated in a holy war 20, really means 200 years ago and sealed away by Athena at the time, but has been resurrected in the present age. He was also resurrected by the eternal total eclipse of the sun, the greatest eclipse, which will occur on Earth in the future. The total eclipse of the sun, isn't that a song? No, that's total eclipse of the heart. My bad. The total eclipse of the sun that will last forever and will destroy Earth. He is a god that does not know love. And what is a god without love? A demon. Oh, something about Zeus here. And perhaps GodCloth. See what I can extrapolate from this. What is the miraculous robe of the gods? Major events in the Age of the Gods. During the age of the 12 Olympian gods were said to have worn a garment of noble splendor. Only the gods were allowed to wear this robe. The name of this divine the name of this robe was a divine robe, Kemoa, or Kemu, as close as possible to the robe of the gods, is approaching. According to mythology, the universe was created by a Big Bang. After the birth of the universe and the Big Bang, the gods ran through the universe and poured down through Earth, giving birth to life, which evolved into human beings in the image of the gods. Eventually, among the humans, there were those that merged who were imbued with the image of gods, and they expanded their influence. Zeus, the almighty god of the heavens and earth, Poseidon, and Hades, the god of the seas, were the most powerful of all. The world of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and the underworld were kept in balance. The existence of Zeus, the omnipotent god, seems to have served as a deterrent force to keep the worlds of heaven, the earth, and the sea, the heavens, earth, the sea, and the underworld were balanced against each other. However, since Zeus entrusted the earth to Athena and thought that he was working with the other gods, Athena was the first of the gods to be targeted by the other gods in his place. And she was the first to be targeted by Poseidon. The earth was taken. The earth was taken from Earth. Maybe that means the sea was taken from Earth. Who knows? The 12 Olympian gods. Those those two are gods said to have worn armor called a robe of armor. They are said to have a divine radiance, and possessed abilities incomparable to those of other sacred robes, a robe garment, robe underworld. Basically, the robe of the Olympian gods are are pretty much above all others. All the gods but Athena and Poseidon are said to have disappeared into the sky with Zeus, so the appearance of the robe is only a fragment handed down to tradition. The sacred garment regenerated by Athena's blood is said to be a sacred garment, which is okay, so there is confirmation. And it's something I said for a while is that the Athena armor is not the Kamoa, but it's something very close to it. Yes. Today, however, we can only imagine what the robe of the goddess looks like according to Poseidon's words. The Olympians will descend again to this earth to inflict great punishment on mortals. Will the appearance of the 12 Olympians in their divine robes trigger a new beginning for saints? If Poseidon, one of the 12 gods, possessed the sacred garment, did they also have a robe? If they possessed the robe of the goddess of the sea, then did they also possess the robe of the... Basically saying, if they had armor, was it the sacred armor from mythology? And it seems to not be given a question. The saints were born in battle against Poseidon, and throughout many battles they were systemized. Basic. Okay, so in both the Taizen and hyper myth, it basically has the origin of Poseidon is the one that kickstarted everything. During the thousands of years since the battles of Poseidon ended, the saints have traveled throughout the earthly world, fighting various battles, and have been objects of many wars. The peace on earth was kept by the activities of the saints. Basically, going more into detail that, yeah, even Athena's saints dug into the wars of humanity. Like we know, of course, like Troy. The image of the robes that gods wore has not yet been revealed, and its appearance is not beyond the realm of imagination. Alrighty, lots of god detail. Any god questions? I think this is okay. This is I think just an interview, so there might be a bit of the lore part. Just taking a little while to translate. Here we go. The animated Saint Seiya was sent domestically and internationally and attracted many fans. We asked the people who were in the midst of that time to talk about their love for Seiya. Everything was like a movie. It was easy for the viewer to enter and even felt the illusion of the world was real and had entered the world of Seiya. Everyone from children to adults fell in love with Seiya. TV animation was the first time I learned the work of Saint Seiya. Okay, let's talk about people and their interest in Saint Seiya. Nothing wrong with that. Say about the animation itself, the drawings and stories, I don't believe Kurumada says anything here. And so that they couldn't be compared to other works. I also really like the atmosphere of the whole anime. Mr. Kurumada, thank you for showing me the dream of anime staff. For example, galleries, movements, angles. Seiya, the culmination of the robe of a hot-blooded hero by Toru Furia. Toru, a famous Japanese voice actor. He voiced Seiya and many other acclaimed roles. The role of Seiya was decided by the audition, but at this time went to Seiya's Pertusis proper purport. Forgive me. Wristband, surf shirt, jeans. Okay, it's talking about materials, Saint Seiya merch. Okay. Pegasus Media Fist, I've said it 100 times. In particular, the movie version even says, even if my body shatters into pieces, the microcosm is immortal. I will raise this small universe to infinity. Yes, even in the movies, the power is infinite. Yeah, the power is infinite. These are a couple of interviews. You know what? I may save the interview for another time. Let's save it for another time. Because I have something else in mind. Alright, let's talk about the gods. Greek mythology course. Greek mythology became the motif of Saint Seiya. What kind of people are Greeks? Who created this epic story of the gods and heroes? Also, what kind of myth is it? The Greek Myth Commentary Corner that is essential for a deeper understanding of Seiya. Well, I guess this really is a good lead into what I'm going to do next. The same Greek myth that invaded around the 1st century BC, which is a syntax of magnificent gods and heroes. The bearer is a Greek Dorians, ancient Greek, will be done. Greek complained, blah blah blah. Zeus made his father the underworld Kronos previously. It is representing the story that the sea has already been developed and has taken the thrones of gods. Advanced blue called evening when there was a civilization. Zeus reigned as the pinnacle of the gods, the other gods' dominance. Okay, that's basically just going off Greek mythology. Maybe this is going with Greek mythology in relation to SS. Give me all that text. Here we go. Zeus and their older brothers, the brothers of the tribe who had sucked in the inhumanity of their husbands' deeds, were the only ones to fight Zeus. When Rhea, who had sucked in her husband's inner human deeds, okay, enough of this sucking, and brothers. Triton tribe were forced by Perseus alone to fight against Zeus. Zeus turned against his father Kronos, first making Kronos spit out his brothers he had swallowed, then united his brothers to fight against their father Kronos. They were called the gods, and the brothers who fought together, Poseidon and Hades, were in were in love with each other, so to speak. Poseidon ruled the seas, Hades the underworld, and Zeus himself took the throne of the chief god and ruled the skies. Zeus, who became the chief god, mingled with other various gods and goddesses. You can say that. Zeus had many intermarriages with various gods or goddesses. His first wife, Metis, but he swallowed her when she was pregnant, believing the prophecy that a child of Metis will take your place. But she continued to grow inside of Zeus. And so it was the same, and well, technically there were two. One was Athena, who he loved. The other one is still inside Zeus, from what we know. I wonder if that character will ever appear in God of War. Zeus is the goddess. Okay, I think that's just a mix-up right there. Athena is the goddess of war. Zeus takes his sister Hera as his wife, as you do. Zeus takes Hera, his sister, his wife, but continues to be unfaithful to her, but he continues to commit infidelity. Yeah, okay, now just tell us about Greek mythology. Okay, I think that's giving us a rundown of Greek mythology here. Not necessarily connected to Saint Seiya. Or maybe it is directly connected. Who can say? It does have pictures here, and it does have a little... You know what? Let's see what that is, actually. Because it just flat out has her bio here. Incomplete, but... Okay. What does it say about Athena a little bit? Athena is said to have been born with a garment on her head and a pair of hands, and have been a fighter from the very beginning of her life. But she is said to be the same god. She is said to have been a goddess of war, and to have fought Ares, and to have loved Poseidon more than any of the other children. Okay. So, until further clarification, we can kind of assume that Greek mythology is, from what we know, canon to Saint Seiya as much as it can be. Uh, I guess let's talk about the mystical part of Saint Seiya. At the age of 1, he is talking to the Buddha from life counseling. The closest thing to a god. He already explained the many subjective technique that he. Oh, so this is Okay, wow, that is going pretty far down to talk about techniques, isn't it? Does anybody else have more technique talk? Oh, more interviews. Do I need to create an interview section? Saint Seiya, I like this image. I want this in high quality detail right here. Anyways, let's talk about Shaka's random technique. Actually, you know what? It is also possible that this isn't the whole thing. The other possibility is because this is like over 100 pages. Yes, altogether this probably is over 100 pages. Anyway, here I'll explain the method. Here explain the method. First is the basis technique, the Tenmufuken. This is an ectolocation, logical technique that may be useful for a urine cleaning. What? I'm going to say that's lost in translation. You got 6 realms: the hell world, the demon world, the animal world, the human world. Yeah, all are connected to a lot of other worlds. Apparently, according to the anime writer, man who is closest to God. The last technique I would like to introduce is the Tenmu Horen. That is, he performed on Iki. This is a terrifying technique that seals the opponent's six senses, one by one, but it also allows the microcosm side, as it exploded microcosm that turned him into partner. Basically saying it allowed for Iki to get stronger. As you can see, all of Shaka's techniques are very human. Everyone should take care to open Shaka's eyes. Please be careful not to open Shaka's eyes. Let's all take the Saint Seiya fan club. The five saints throw themselves into an intense battle to protect Athena and burn everything for the sake of justice. Can you feel their passionate cosmos? I can't even begin to know what this might be. Yeah, it's definitely been over an hour. But we're almost done. Who loves saints? Who Seiya loves? Interesting. I think this is people talking about Seiya's relationships. We can leave it there. What on earth is this? It's a whole lot of it's a whole lot of text. I can say that. So no wonder it's taking a little bit of time. So much text. Yes, definitely had to wait for it. To be fair, it is a lot here. Okay. Shock that normally makes 100,000 volts. There's a lot here, but I can't see anything worth mentioning. Oh, let's talk about techniques as well. Sends the opponents another dimension. The 7 cents, the ace, let's talk about the 8 cents, the power to wake up at the time of death. Hmm. Uh, Something that talks about the 8th sense is probably something I should actually look into. So yeah, this seems to be an important chapter right here. I can wait till the text pops up. more clarification on the eighth sense is always a plus, if it allows it. If not, I'll look it up on my own time. Okay, I just looked it up. There we go. There we go. Finally. Okay, what do we have here? There's a lot of. This is just talking about a lot of little things here. So some of it is not going to make sense or be random. The statue of Athena holds in her left hand a defensive form of Athena. The defensive form of Athena, the statue of Athena holds, draws around the chest of justice to shake off evil. The enemy tries to enter into the extinguished of the golden arrow that was hit normally. This would shock a 10,000 volts. The defensive instincts of Andromeda gave. Okay, that's like we went to like 4 techniques in one. Okay, let me find something consistent here and I'll read it. If I had the time, I would just push it all away from each other. Okay, this would take a lot to all fit together. So this should be remembered, but ultimately I can't make out much. But it is talking about techniques, and learning more about techniques is always a good thing. Can I post a link to this? Oh yeah, I actually should. I'll post a link to this as soon as I'm done. Cause this is raw Taizen. And I don't want it getting lost. Just waiting for all of it to load. Okay. Special needs overhead lotion, max rainbow. Hmm. This is where, yeah, this just needs to be translated. Otherwise, it's gonna come out as a bit of a jumping mess through here. Unfortunately. Maybe better in Deep L, but that'll take a while. I could do that while moving on. That's kind of it. I'm going to end it with reading this little bit, but first I want to read in this interview. Anything interesting going on here? Okay. Born in Mayu Prefecture in 1979, debuted in 1999, a cross-type camel clutch. Japanese people like Japanese people like oatmeal, and they like pro wrestling. Okay. Any New Japan fans out there? People are close to each other in their current abilities. If someone gets out of hand, it will fall, or it will be important to find a rival that shines. On the contrary, does Kurumada, who puts the other person in his own flow, also lead to Seiya? Are you nervous when you play against your seniors? Is it talking about real martial arts here? Kurumada, what do you do? I see. There are rivals. Makib, even my seniors, who are usually well received, will definitely catch up and overtake somebody. I've been playing against the reference for several times. He is active, blah blah blah. I'm not nervous even if I lose that match. Oh, they just straight up talking about sparring each other in karate. Interesting. The opponents who fought against the Goat Saints becomes an ally, but it's a very muscle-lined world. Very necessary as well. However, I think that the manga, is particularly influential. I am sure there are a couple people who read the manga and are very encouraged or influenced by their lives. The many worlds of Kurumada manga was definitely influenced, starting with Seiya's recollections of prolix's discussions, and even life theory. The topics of Saint Seiya were endless and heating up. You said I thought I was inspired by the young lions who are working hard, whether they win or lose. When I become a wrestler, I don't know. I've always been. I cannot spell that. And I think there's something that really affects me. But during this time, I had a chance to play. At the time, I thought I'd definitely do it. The man smiling, Kuramada, great influence. Is this guy a wrestler? He honestly looks like one. The fact that still young people like everyone in the area, isn't that Japan is still abandoned? Among Seiya, there's a scene where Seiya is asked, every young people, every young person I'm playing now, but why does Seiya-chan become tattered in fights until he can't move? Basically saying Seiya fights even when he's horrifically hurt. But these days, everyone wants to win without effort. On the other hand, everyone is fighting every day. I am so tired. There's probably a lot of wisdom in this thing. I hope this somehow encourages people to actually translate all of this. There's probably some interesting bits in these interviews. Did I already mention I'm going to cover interviews after a while? And finally, we have an ending. And yes, I will post a link to this whole thing in the end. But when people fall into hardship again, they will surely appear with the light of hope, until the time when a new holy war rise. Peaceful days have come of the saints in exchange for a sparkle of life. Seiya forever. Okay, we're finally more or less finished with the Taizen. Boy, was this a beast. There's so much here. It would legitimately take probably a dedicated group of translators a couple of days to actually get this right. But just because this is finished does not mean the end of the data books. Technically, there's the hyper myth, but the next one we're going to look at is the Saint Seiya Galaxian Encyclopedia. Yes, we're gonna look at that whole thing. I wonder if we can knock it out in one day. We'll see. But yes, the Galaxian Encyclopedia. Oh, if you're here, please give it a like and give it a comment. Now, the Galaxy Encyclopedia explains we're going to get a lot of detail about plot, and we're going to get a lot of detail about techniques. But before then, I'm going to do a video on the techniques of Leo Iolia. So look out for that. That's probably going to be my next actual uploaded video and not stream. So goodbye everyone.